Hello Internet. Today's project is the making of a medallion to dress up the pendulum bob on my Boyer clock number 6. Here it is showing in its rather unadorned state. The project starts in Fusion 360. I purchased some artwork from Etsy called the Tree of Life and tried to import it in its DXS file format into Fusion, but was unsuccessful. I ended up importing an image of the artwork into Fusion as a canvas, and then I traced each of the lines of the artwork using spline curves to recreate the artwork in the Fusion environment. That sounds pretty tedious, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And here is the 3D model after extruding the sketch. Moving now to the manufacturing environment, we will now create tool paths for the CNC machine. 5 different tool paths were created. There are 6 shown here, but the last one I never really used. First, we created engraving tool paths that will be cut with a 30-degree V-bit. Next, pockets for the small areas were created using a 1.5 millimeter end mill, shown here. Third, another pocketing path in these larger areas underneath the tree branches. And finally, 2 paths also using 1.5 millimeter end mill were used to create the final contour of the project. Now let's get out to the shop and get to work. Here I'm resawing some European beech to about 1/16 inch in thickness. I made 3 versions of the project in 3 different wood types. European beech was used as background in 2 of the versions. One version used wenge for the foreground and another used Pendulum. A third version was made from 1/4-inch Baltic birch. Here the wenge foreground and birch background are being edge glued to give enough width for the project. The drills are there just as weights to hold the wood flat. Titebond 3 was used for this edge gluing. Next, the Pendulum and wenge foregrounds were epoxied to the European beech backgrounds. This is the Pendulum version, being removed from the MDF cauls that were protected with packing tape. This is the wenge version. I was surprised at how stiff and flat they came out. To mount the stock, I used the blue tape and super glue technique. This is my first time using it, and I have to say it worked great. This was a good application for this holding technique because other clamping methods would have gotten in the way of the resurfacing of this thin material. The European beech back was flattened off camera. Here we're flattening the wenge front. The bit is a 2-inch diameter flattening bit. I used the pendant to manually control this process rather than prepare a toolpath. Here is the 30-degree V-bit used for the engraving toolpaths. And here we start the engraving pass on the wenge version. The maximum depth of this engraving tool path is just a 1/16 of an inch. So the tip of the engraving tool is just barely getting into the lighter European beech. The diameter of this project is 3.5 inches. And here is the project after completion of the engraving toolpath. All the remaining toolpaths were cut with this 1.5 millimeter end mill. Here is the pocketing path of the small areas among the leaves with that end mill. So that the lighter beech shows through, the depth of these passes is about a 64th of an inch below the wenge. And now we're starting the large pockets between the leaves and the roots. To minimize stress on the end mill, these paths are done in 2 levels. And here are the 3 versions after cutting the final contours. After much debate, my wife picked the wenge version to be the one installed. Check out my other videos showing the making of the Boyer clock number 6 and the base for the clock. Thanks for watching.